What's up, guys? Llamapen here. Welcome to NHL 22. And today I'm going to show you every Deke in the game. I'm calling this the most comprehensive Deke video for NHL 22. Not only am I going to break down every Deke in the game, but I'm going to show you all the variations of every Deke. So just going to get started. Going to start off with the really simple ones here. So the first one is the toe drag. So keep in mind with this Deke and with every Deke that we've done in this game, if you're a left-handed skater, just do the opposite of what I'm doing here. If you're on Xbox, you guys know it's basically same controls. I think you can pretty much map those controls onto an Xbox controller pretty easily here. Basically, you're just going to roll that right stick clockwise or counterclockwise from 3 or 9 o'clock. So to do the forehand, boom. To do the backhand, hold that puck to the backhand while skating, and then roll it down. Very, very easy. So there are a couple different variations. There's the one that I just showed you while you're skating. Looks like that. And then you've got the coasting toe drag. So let go of that left stick and do that same sticking with the right stick. So as a right-hander, start at 3 o'clock while coasting, roll that stick down clockwise. And to do the backhand variation, do the same thing, let go of that left stick, hold it to the backhand at 9 o'clock, and roll it down counterclockwise. There's also the standstill toe drag, so you can do this toe drag from a standstill, which they added last year. Looks like this. You can do that with no left stick movement, or hold the stick to your backhand or forehand, and while skating in a direction, roll that right stick clockwise on the forehand or counterclockwise on the backhand, and you'll get a little more pronounced animation there. This is also a Deke that I discovered you could do while back skating. So just while back skating, holding L2, then let go of L2, hold that puck to the backhand or forehand, and you can now toe drag while back skating, backhand or forehand. Another fun thing about the toe drag is that you can shoot in the middle of it, which is great for cutting around defenders and getting a good shot off. Keep in mind you can do this with the forehand or backhand variations of the skating or coasting toe drags. And this also works great as a breakaway move. Moving on now to the windmill Dekes. This is a great set of Dekes. There's a couple variations, but I'm just going to start with the most simple one. So hold the puck to the forehand side with the right stick, so about 3 o'clock for a right-hander. Then you're going to hold in L1 and flick the right stick to the left. It's going to look like this. Obviously, there's a backhand variation as well, so we'll hold the puck to the backhand side, hold in L1, and then flick to the right with the right stick. There's also a version that is somewhat less pronounced, so you can do the windmill by just pressing in L1 and tapping to the left or right with the right stick. There's subtle differences, but they are slightly different here. And then finally, as with the toe drag, there is a standstill animation that is slightly different. So while at a standstill, hold L1 and then tap to the left or right with the right stick to do the standstill windmill. And you can even hold the right stick to the forehand or backhand as well while doing this from a standstill. So that is the windmill Deke. Up next is the L1 quick Deke. So to do this one, just while skating, tap L1 and skate to the left or right at the same time to do the L1 quick Deke. There's also, as with the toe drags and windmill Dekes, a standstill animation. So pretty much point to the left or right and tap L1 at the same time while at a standstill to do these animations. And those look like this. Moving on now to the stride Deke. This one's also super easy. Hold in L1 and then point to the left or right with your left stick. So here you can see it looks like that on the forehand. And to go on the backhand, go to the right. Moving on to the Spin-O-Rama. So this one's very simple. All you do, tap L2, and you'll spin around and do a 360. What direction you're skating does seem to have some correlation with which direction you spin, although, I don't know, I've never seemed to get it consistently just by doing it this way, so there is another way to ensure that you spin the same direction every time. So as a right-hander, if you want to spin clockwise, hold that puck out to the forehand, hold down L2, and then spin that stick clockwise. If you want to go counterclockwise, hold the puck to the backhand, hold in L2, and then spin that stick counterclockwise. You have to be skating a little bit to pull this one off. You can also shoot basically right in the middle of the Spin-O-Rama Deke by just pressing shoot while you're spinning. Although I will say it works much better on the backhand than forehand. Moving on to another very simple one. It is the fake shot. So all you got to do for this one is click in that right stick and you'll lift that leg like you're about to shoot. There's also a slightly different animation you can get with this by skating sideways and then clicking in the right stick. So as a right-hander, hold L2 and point your left stick to the left to skate like this. If you were a left-hander, you would hold L2 and point your left stick to the right and then click in the stick to get this different animation. Moving on to the through the legs Deke. This is a great basic Deke, and I think it sets the foundation for a lot of more difficult Dekes that we're going to learn later. So take that right stick on the forehand side, hold it down kind of behind your legs. So hold the puck out to 3 o'clock, then roll it down to about 4 or 5 o'clock, like this. And then from there, you're going to hold in L1 and flick the right stick upward or slightly to the backhand side, but upward. So here, L1, boom. Next is the jump Deke, one of my personal favorite Dekes, very fun. Also very easy to do. Hold in L1 and push up on the right stick, and you will flip the puck up and jump like so. Alright, next is the off the skate or kick Deke. To do this one, hold in L1 and tap down with the right stick. There are a couple different variations, so if you're skating while doing this, you'll kick it off your left skate as a right-hander. And if you're coasting, it's going to go off your right skate. Keep in mind there's a couple variations, so you can do the forehand or backhand variation. So same deal though, if you're coasting, it's going to go off your right skate. And if you're skating, it's going to go off that left skate. And here's the backhand variation here. And that is the off the skate Deke. Moving on to the Datsyuk Toe Drag. This is also referred to, I believe, as the backhand toe drag in the controls of this game. So to do this one, you remember that fake shot we learned earlier? Click in that right stick, and then immediately after, you're going to drag the stick down. So directly downward, and you'll do the Datsyuk Toe Drag. From there, there's a lot of different things you can do. So you could either let go of everything, and it functions almost as a Deke. You could, from this spot, you could shoot. Once you pull the stick back, just press up, and you'll rip a shot. You can also, they added this last year, you can, from this position, pass now, which could be useful. So just press R2 and point to where you want that pass to go from that position. You can also chip the puck, as Datsyuk famously did in a shootout move, by just tapping R1 once you get to that position, and that's a pretty broken way to score. Next, there is the between the legs. So if you want to score a dope goal, like William Karlsson did a few years ago, his first year on the Golden Knights, looks like that. You're going to hold in L1 and then click in that right stick You could use this as a deke, so put it back there, bring it out, and then take a shot. I will mention that when performing the between the legs deke, a lot of people tell you that the way to do this deke is to press L1 and R3 at the same time. This is not necessarily true, because if you press R3 slightly before L1, you're going to do that little fake shot animation, and the animation is going to take longer than you want. So you want to press L1 slightly before you click in the right stick to ensure that this deke works properly. You can also pass from this position. So you can do a flat R2 pass by just tapping R2 while you're holding L1 in the right stick and point where you want that pass to go. You could also do a saucer pass by doing the same thing but with R1, and that'll elevate the puck off the ice. Or you could even do a drop pass. So you could let go of everything, or let go of the left stick, tap R1, and drop that pass. I don't know why you would ever need to do that, but you can. But then, of course, the best way to use this move is to just shoot while you've got the puck between your legs. So while you've got the puck in between your legs, flick up with the right stick to score a cool goal. Next, we're going to move on to the one-handed finish. So if you want to score a Forsbergian move on the goalie, you're going to hold the puck to your forehand or backhand. I'll show you the forehand variation first. So hold the puck to your forehand with the right stick, and then press L1 and R1 almost simultaneously. So this is another one. You don't want to press R1 before you press L1, otherwise you're going to sauce the puck. So press L1 slightly before, and then press R1. And you'll kind of step around the puck and one-hand it on the other side. You can do the backhand variation, so hold that right stick to your backhand side, and press L1 and R1 to do the backhand variation. So this could be used as a deke potentially, although I don't think it's particularly good for that. You're just separated from the puck a little too long. But it's mainly meant to be used as a finishing deke. This used to be very, very broken, and now it doesn't seem to work that well on AI, although I have managed to kind of figure out a decent way where if you do like a backhand forehand and then do it, it kind of works. So you also have the one-handed sidestep move. So this was introduced back in NHL 18, I believe. And for this one, you want to hold the puck to the backhand, hold in L1, and then flick the right stick upward. That is the best way to do it, in my opinion. But you could also just hold the puck to the backhand, hold in L1, and then roll that right stick all the way up to 12 o'clock. But I find there's more error when you do it this way. So there's a couple other dekes that you might accidentally get when doing it that way. So I think the best way to do this is to hold it to the backhand, hold in L1, let go of the right stick, and then just tap it forward. And you should get it every time if you do it that way. Up next, I'm going to talk about a deke that I call the Backhand Push deke. So this one's very similar to the one-handed sidestep, but the only difference is this. So hold the puck to your backhand side, hold in L1, and then just barely roll that right stick up to do the backhand push. Once again, if you roll that stick too far up, you're going to do the one-handed sidestep, so make sure you just barely roll that stick up there. Next, we're going to move into a deke that I think is kind of in the same family as the other dekes. It just kind of seems to be the forehand variation of those dekes, so at least in terms of the controls. So hold the puck out to the forehand, hold L1, and then roll that right stick up just barely to get the Forehand Chip deke. This is one that I don't see mentioned a lot in other tutorial videos, but it's been in the game quite a while now, so everyone should know about this. It's not a particularly good deke in my opinion, but it seems to work best coming in diagonally. So if you're a right-handed skater, come in from right to left and pull this off, and you seem to hang on to it more consistently. Obviously, I'm using Mario Lemieux, so he's going to be good at pretty much every deke. But I find if you're just straight skating and you do this deke, a lot of times you'll skate away from the puck. So it's best used when going diagonally from a certain side. Even this side, it doesn't seem to be consistently good. But that is the forehand chip. I'm going to move on now to the board chip. So this one's really easy, but it is based on where your skater is in relation to the boards. So you want to be at least pretty close. I would say somewhere in between the dot and the boards, and you should be able to get this one to work. So really, really simple. Just hold in L1 and then tap R2, and you'll flick the puck against the boards, step around a little bit, and then come back to the puck. So that is the board chip. This next one is called the net bank. So to do this one, like the board chip, it's dependent on where you're skating. So the controls are the same, but you must be skating behind either net in the defensive or offensive zone. Then just hold L1 and tap in R2 to do the net bank, which looks like this. This next deke I call the flip deke. So while skating in the open ice, hold L1 and then tap R2 to do the flip deke. To pull off the forehand or backhand variation, just hold to the forehand, then hold in L1 and tap R2 to do the forehand version. To do the backhand version, hold your right stick to the backhand, hold in L1 and then tap R2. Keep in mind, if you're not holding to the backhand or forehand when you do this and are just too close to the boards, you're going to do the board chip. So make sure if you're near the boards that you do the backhand or forehand variation with your right stick first to avoid doing the board chip, unless you're in the open ice, in which case you don't really have to worry about it. Another deke that I think is in the same family, all these next couple dekes were introduced in NHL 21, so I'm going to mention them all together here. You've also got the board squeeze, I call it, or the op deke. So to do this one, once again, got to be really close to the boards. So just skate along the boards, tap L1, and you'll kind of slither by defenders on the boards and flick the puck up just a little bit to kind of squeeze by defenders that are going for hits on the boards. Really easy one to do, although I will say if you're really close to the boards and you press L1 and point to the left, you're going to get that L1 quick deke. So make sure you're just skating forwards or at the boards a little bit to ensure that you get the board squeeze. This next deke is the Kucherov or fake or no deke move. And to do this one, we're going to have to go back to our stride dekes. So to do the stride deke, hold in L1 and tap to the left or right. For this one, you're going to need to do the forehand stride deke. So if you're right-handed, hold L1 and tap to the left with the left stick. If you're a left-hander, hold L1 and then tap to the right with the left stick. So once you've done that, right after you do that stride deke, you're going to tap to the opposite side with your right stick. So as a right-hander, hold L1, tap to the left with the left stick, and then tap to the right with the right stick. And that will allow you to do the Kucherov deke. There is an old variation or a way of doing this deke that is pretty different, but I found this out in NHL 18 a long time ago, and it is still in the game. So to do this, hold L1, tap down with the left stick, and then right after that, tap down with the right stick, which will look like this. You can also hold to the forehand or backhand to do a backhand or forehand variation there, which looks like that on the backhand. And here's the forehand variation. Obviously, it's much harder to score with this version of the deke, so really there's no reason to do it unless you're just adding it to a combination to look fancy in shootout mode or something. But it is still in the game, so I thought I'd cover it. That is the Kucherov deke. Next up, it is the Kyle Turris, or off the side of the skate deke. That deke looks like this. So to do this deke, hold your right stick to the right, so about 3 o'clock for a right-hander, then roll it down slightly. Hold in L1, From that position, there's a couple ways to do it now. So you can either get in that position, hold the puck down to the forehand pocket, hold in L1, let go of the right stick, and then tap down with the right stick while coasting. So don't hold forward with the left stick, otherwise you're going to get a different deke. Another way to do it is to hold the puck down to the forehand pocket, hold L1, and then slightly roll that right stick down to 6 o'clock, just barely. So this next deke is the between the legs off the skate deke. It looks like this. This one took me a long time to figure out how to do consistently, but basically it's just the same as the Kyle Turris, except you do the sticking while skating forward. So like the Kyle Turris, hold that right stick to the side at 3 o'clock and then roll it down to about 4 or 5 o'clock to get into the forehand pocket. Then hold in L1, and while skating forward, tap that right stick down. Or like the Kyle Turris, there is that other variation where you could just roll the right stick down to about 6 o'clock. But once again, just make sure you're skating forward, holding that left stick forward to do this deke. Otherwise, you're going to get the Kyle Turris if you're just coasting. Next up, we're getting to the more difficult ones here. It's going to be the behind the back one-hander. So remember when I said the through the legs deke is kind of a good foundation for learning some of the trickier dekes? This is one of those dekes that I'm talking about. So similar to that deke, hold that puck down into the forehand pocket. So as a right-hander, hold that puck to the right with the right stick at about 3 o'clock and then roll it down to about 4 or 5 o'clock. Get in that position, then hold L1. And then as a right-hander, you're going to tap your right stick to 9 o'clock and then 3 o'clock or about 2 o'clock. So get in that position, then tap left, right. And you've got to get that timing correct, otherwise it's not going to work. This is a super fun deke. You know, you can do the Superb Man with this. You can do the old manual. Oh my goodness. You could do the old manual slap shot off that. Holy shit. Sorry, that just blew my mind. This next move is almost identical to the behind the back one-hander. I call it the Forehand-Backhand Sweep, and it looks like that. So to do this deke, hold the right stick down to the forehand pocket, hold L1, and then kind of let go of the left stick while you're still holding L1, and tap left and right with the right stick. The only difference here between this and the behind the back one-hander is the direction you're skating. So you want to be skating either straight ahead or kind of straight and to the left. If you're skating like left to right diagonally, this move is really hard to pull off. I almost can never get it, and it'll almost always go behind your back. But as long as you're skating just kind of straight ahead or straight and to the left, you should be able to get the forehand backhand sweep. This, to me, but apart from the Michigan, is the most difficult deke in the game. But that is the forehand backhand sweep. Moving on now to this deke's cousin, and I call it the Backhand-Forehand Sweep, or the Zetterberg. So to do this deke, which looks like this, you're going to hold the puck to your backhand, hold in L1, and then tap the right stick right and then left, which looks like that. So very similar sticking to the behind the back one-hander and the backhand or the forehand backhand sweep. One of my favorite dekes in the game. Not only is it super cool and fancy, but it actually kind of works sometimes. You can get it to do some stuff for you. So that's the backhand forehand sweep. Moving on to the boss of all complicated, fancy, stupid dekes, and it is the Michigan. So there's so many variations of this deke and ways to do it, and it's so insanely complicated that just let me take a breath here. Let me get a drink of water. Okay, are you guys ready? So let's get into it. To do the Michigan, you're going to hold the puck on the forehand, hold in L1, click down that right stick. So here we're about halfway through, you know, and then we can focus on the hard part, which is rolling that right stick from 3 o'clock to about 9 o'clock. Once you're in that position, you're going to have an insanely good player to do this deke, which is why I went with Lemieux in this situation. And boom, first try. You can do this from a standstill. So if you were just standing behind the net, you could just do it from a standstill. You could also do this in the open ice while skating at the goalie. Let's see. Could you imagine if we got one here? Let's see. Wait. Okay. How would I score this on a... Okay. Yeah. And okay, not a bad try there. So, you could also do it from the standstill behind the net, like I was saying here. So, get into a good position, just kind of behind the net there. Nah, not going to get it there. But the coolest way to do it is like this, while skating in motion behind the net. And I'm on the wrong side. I'm a complete idiot. So let's try that again. Hold it to the forehand. L1, click it down, roll it around. And you know what? We're going to keep going until we get one, just for the sake of this video, because I will get one here. It will happen. Oh! Yeah, you see that how that animation is different than when you're just skating at the net or when you're at a standstill. You kind of do this heel-to-heel skating. So hold it down until you're heel-to-heel and you're all the way crouched down, and then roll that stick down. 90% of getting this deke right is the timing, which is the hardest part. The sticking is somewhat complicated. There we go, boys. But really, it's just the timing. You know, you could be doing everything right, but your timing is just slightly off and you won't get it. So go into practice mode with a highly skilled skater like Lemieux and just practice it a billion times. You know, you might go through a couple controllers. God knows I ruined some sticks learning this one last year. But once you get it down and you get the timing right, then it's just a matter of not having dog shit ping online and getting it right, you know? Offline, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Online with 30 ping, almost impossible. In EASHL, don't even get me statted. Anyway, guys, that is every single deke in NHL 22. There were no new dekes introduced this year. I was kind of disappointed about that, but also not super surprised. You know, they had a lot of other things to focus on. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some new dekes next year. But I would also like to mention that just before anyone beats me to it, there's a reason that I didn't cover moves like this, or, you know, the spinning self-sauce, because those aren't really dekes. They're kind of combos. So I don't know. I wouldn't really consider those like dekes that you need to cover in this game. That was nasty. But I do have tutorial videos for those dekes. If you check out my deke tutorial playlist, where this video will be, you'll see plenty of other deke tutorials. And this year I will be rehashing my individual deke tutorial videos. So every deke you've seen in this video, I will be making an individual video for, because I don't want to just show you guys how to do the dekes and the sticking. I want to show you when these dekes work best in online play against actual players and what situations they're best utilized. So look out for those. I'm going to do every deke here. My old deke tutorial videos are super old, back when I just had a shitty headset, and I think I could really improve upon them and make them more interesting this year and go a little more in depth with each of those videos. So stay tuned for those. Hope you guys like this video of every deke in NHL 22. Stay tuned for more EASHL content, as well as just generally NHL 22 content this year. And hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in the next one.